I finally decided to talk about this. I have been going back and forth about it. I had to really talk to God because it's so personal to me that I didn't know that I really wanted to share this experience. And I had to get to a place where I felt like if I share this, it's because I want other people that may have experienced this to understand that they're not alone. I know this does happen in business, but he stole from us. He stole from our business. He stole from our relationship of trust. He took what to me was a sacred partnership in business and just completely threw it in the garbage. And what I'm talking about is my business partner. I have been through so many different versions of financial trauma as a financial therapist. Number one, yes, I'm a financial therapist and a mental health therapist. Hi, my name is Tamoa. And part of the reason why I'm so passionate about financial therapy and speaking about mindset when it comes to our finances, our relationships with money, the ups, the downs, is because I have lived it. I have been through so many facets. I've even from being a child, lost everything, had to rebuild. As an adult, lost a lot, had to rebuild. I've been through bankruptcy. I've been through foreclosures and car repossessions and judgments and all of these things. That's what drew me to even want to help people with their credit because I've had to rebuild my credit so many times that I decided to actually educate myself and get the education. That's where my passion lies. But I thought to myself, man, I believe I've been through as many facets of financial trauma possible. Um, but no, there was one more that I feel like I had to experience. And I couldn't experience until I got to this place of healing from financial trauma to be able to speak on it, to be able to lead other people into healing, to be able to help people with their mindset and understand how abundant and worthy they are. And just because something happens to them doesn't have to be their final area of thinking. Is it because I'm not worthy? Is it because there's something wrong with me that this happened? Because the answer is no. It's an experience on your journey that you should learn from. So, I purchased a business with someone that I trusted. I had built a relationship with him for a couple of years, and this was definitely just a business relationship. We both have our own families, like purely just built the spark out of business and just out of character is what I thought, and integrity for another person and respect for another person. And we purchased a business together. And I was so excited because it's a great, great, great opportunity in my eyes. Now, there were certain things that I found out later that were hidden from me concerning the actual purchase of the business, some of the back end part of it. I felt like I did my due diligence. And when you trust someone, as a partner and you entrust them for you guys to build something together, sometimes you don't look as deep as you could. And I realized that. But therein lies the trust and partnership, right? Stealing the money from the business for me, it wasn't so much about the money. Yes, it was in the hundreds of thousands, basically the way I look at it, because a portion of the money was a direct stealing from me, and the other portion I look at it as money that we could have made in the business that we did not. And I felt shame. I felt completely disrupted in my nervous system. I felt betrayal. I felt frustrated. And I think what bothered me the most is the fact that I had already healed through a lot, right? In terms of financial trauma, and then got to this place. Because, mind you, this just happened to me about 9 months ago. So, as a financial therapist, I'm helping other people work through things, the things that I've worked through. And this, bam, this happened, this financial betrayal. And so I started to replay the old story. It didn't take me long to shut it down because I used the tools and the coping skills and all of the things that I used previous and the things that I discovered along my journey that I help people to heal from. But it just really floored me because in my head, I thought that I was making the best decision. I thought that I was entrusting business and going into partnership with the right person. And what I realize is I can question myself all day long, but I have to meet myself where I was and know that when I went into the partnership, when I went into this contract and this business covenant with this person, it's from the place that I saw them at, not from the place that I didn't know that they were going to become. And what I even more realized is they did what they did out of their own financial trauma, out of their own history of trauma with money, out of their own destructive design and their unworthiness and their lack of communication and their ignorance, right? And their selfishness when a real conversation could have been had. There were so many ways that that situation could have been dissolved, but they chose to steal from the both of us because he didn't just steal from me, he stole from him because he robbed us of our future together with our business. But then on the higher perspective of all of this, I actually thank God that it happened when it happened. While some people would look at the money and they would say, well, that was a whole lot of money. I just think that I am fortunate that it happened at the time that it did. Because what if it was a whole lot more money? What if it was a whole lot more time? What if it was even more building and trusting and character and multiple business that we had built together? So I am grateful for the experience, but I'm going to be honest with you. Those like real 3 weeks that I can remember that I really had to understand the nature of what was going on with me, not just in the 3D of, yes, he stole from us, but within the 5D of a spiritual level of really having to look at myself and not from a place of I did something wrong, but to a place of, and I know this may sound weird to some of you, but I had to go through this experience because I feel like every experience lends us the opportunity for growth, lends us the opportunity to say, you know what, next time this happens, and not from a place of distrust, not from a place of not wanting to partner with someone again, but from a place of really use my intuition, really use what that nudge. Because when I was really completely honest with myself, there were things that were happening that I feel like I chose to ignore and still not blaming myself because I did it out of my heart, out of trust, out of wanting to build, but really listening to my sacred self. I should have been focusing on me in the business, in the partnership, in the alignment that I felt about everything that we were building. Now, that doesn't mean that I could have stopped it from happening, but there were times where I feel like I wasn't really focused on me and honoring me in our partnership and look the other way. So, fast forward 9 months later, I am so thankful for that experience. I am so honored by having to experience that pain, because now, even more, the next person that I go into partnership in business, I'm going to do not only my due diligence of listening to my intuition, of trusting myself, of listening to those nudges of saying, ask about this, think about this, learn about this, communicate about this, that although I could take it the other way and say, I don't trust anymore. I don't, no, I'm not going to go into another business or something. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that experience change who I am, my integrity, my character, the longing that I have to go into business partnership with someone that reflects what I want to build, and I reflect what they want to build. I'm not going to let that experience stop me, because the fact of the matter is, if that was the case, all of the financial trauma I've been through, all of the past relationships of people that may have quote unquote taken advantage of me, or that may have stole from me, or whatever that is, I wouldn't even be in this place if I couldn't move forward, because forgiving myself is forgiving them. Now, I still have boundaries around it, because our relationship, of course, is done. I won't do business with them. I have to honor myself in that, but I can't carry that weight of unforgiveness, of anger, of disappointment. I can't do it. I have to honor who I am and know that life is going to go on. And whatever money that I thought that I was going to get with us partnering, that God is going to replace that a million times over with something even bigger, something even better, because now I'm even more open despite the experience. I say all that to say, if you are a person, whether it's in business, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your family, and you've had experiences in financial trauma where someone has stolen from you, where they haven't been honest, where they do things of lack of integrity, or just you think you're giving them money to do something with, and they are doing something else, because I know so many people that has happened to, just know that you are never dishonoring you by focusing on you. Just know that holding on, though, to the anger, to not trusting anymore anyone else, to, you're doing a disservice to you, not to the other person. Because whoever that person is, whether they did it out of ill intent, whether they did it out of, you know, feeling like their backs were against the wall, they still made a decision to basically fall out of alignment with the trust that you had in the relationship. So you have every right to honor you, but honor you in a place of forgiveness, and honor you in a place of putting boundaries in that relationship, so it doesn't happen to you again. But know that it's not you. Know that you can trust yourself. Know that you can honor yourself. Know that, because that one incident with that one person does not have to repeat again. But you have to face yourself in the mirror without blame, without shame, without guilt, and just know that you can rebuild. Know that it is okay. Know that whoever you are, the giving person you are, the spirit that you have, that you don't have to let that experience fragment and break you. Be who you are. Be loving, be gentle, be giving, and know that spirit, that source, that God will always have your back. And I want you to always remember that you are your greatest value. You are your greatest asset. Take care.